Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror, and this is a horror movie discovery channel. I am just here to put as many horror movies on your watch list as possible, and we're going to be looking at some brand new horror streaming releases for the week of January 12th, plus getting into my trailer reactions. So let's get into it right now. Now we're going to get into the video, but before we do, I've got to remind you guys to please like and subscribe if you like this content. And it's been a pretty good week for me. I'm really excited to see exactly how people thought about my top 10 list of the year, so that's going to be fun to watch. And plus, I've also gotten the chance to get a couple of 2026 horror movies under my belt, so I'm feeling really good, you know what I mean? My spreadsheet for the year is already starting to fill out, man. I'm going to watch so many horror movies this year, so let's just get right into it. So as always, we're going to get into a couple of movies I watched, and the first movie that I watched this week was Hollow Road, and I actually thought the movie was pretty good. Like, I thought it was pretty decent, almost good, you know what I mean? But it could, you know, just like every movie, it does have its little qualms and problems, but I thought that the movie did a really good job of kind of building, again, just a really good mystery, and all through these conversations, right? Like, this is almost pretty much a one location movie. Like, they start out in their apartment, but then it's pretty much all in the car, and there's just a really good kind of intrigue over the phone call and how it goes and exactly what's going on in the background and what is going on with the daughter in this accident. And of course, in the trailer, you hear that like someone else answers the phone, and who are they and what are they and what's going to happen. And you just get to, it's got a really good level of kind of, like, you're getting a lot of monologues in this movie, so it feels very drama-ish with the way, because they're kind of, you know, going over things that they've done. There's some really messy family dynamics that come to light, which has, like, gives the movie a good awkward sense. And some of the times on the other end of the phone, you hear the daughter and she'll like panic or something scary happens, and it actually kind of wells up like a little bit of like, you know, anxiety in like, even in us as the watcher, even though we're not seeing the exact actions. Like, some of the times when she's freaking out, you just really feel the urgency in her voice, and you kind of feel the urgency for her. So that was good. And I really thought that the movie had a really good kind of thought-provoking ending. You know what I mean? I think it might be up for interpretation. Again, if you've seen the movie, I don't want to say, maybe we shouldn't discuss the ending in this video because we don't want to spoil it. The movie is quite new, but yeah, it made me kind of think at the end. So overall, I thought that that was a pretty good, decent movie and worth the watch. And the next movie I watched this week was The Wilderness Tapes Volume 1. And I kind of wish I went with Self-Help, because this movie was okay. It was not great. If I had to give it a score out of 1 of 10, I would probably give it a 4. Like, this movie was under average. Like, it was just watchable. I did like the fact that they did attempt some creeps and scares, so I thought that was a good element of the movie. But I thought the acting was just terribly mid. Even though the main kind of characters acting, it like the acting did inject some humor into the movie. It was kind of in a zany way, but it did keep the interest up just a little bit. So overall, I would say that if you're like an insanely big fan of found footage horror like I am, then maybe The Wilderness Tapes Volume 1 is worth the watch. But for the most part, I think it's kind of safe to skip this one. It was just watchable at best. And the next thing we're going to do is get into some streaming news, and there's quite a bit of little streaming stuff this week. One of the things that I'm really excited about, again, one of the movies I didn't see, so I'm always like, should this movie have been on the top 10? But that is Bone Lake coming to Netflix. And from what I've heard from people, that this movie wasn't exactly what I thought it was. I wish I had gotten to see it. It's one of the movies that I kind of forgot about, so I'm actually happy that it's on Netflix. I'm going to be checking that one out. I don't know if it's worth the pay or not, but at least I get to watch it free. And the next movie that I'm kind of excited about coming to a streaming service is Beast of War, which is going to be on Shudder. And I actually thought that this movie looked like a really good kind of shark movie. It just had a really good premise. Like, we're talking about like a war movie that has a shark element. I just thought that that was kind of unique and good. The shark looks good in a lot of scenes, and I'm kind of sad that I haven't seen this movie. And so I am glad that that one's coming to Shudder. And the last piece of streaming news that I do have for you guys this week is that the movie Black Phone 2 is on Peacock. And spoiler, this is one of my top 10 movies of the year, because I did think that Black Phone 2 was better than the original. I thought it was darker, creepier, just a little bit more hard-hitting. And so that is a great movie that if you have Peacock and have not seen, definitely give that film a watch. If you like part 1, you're going to love part 2. So check that one out. So the first movie we're going to take a look at for the new stuff is a drama horror thriller named 1978. And this movie is available on Google Play and Prime Video. During the World Cup final between Argentina and Holland, in times of military dictatorship, a group of torturers kidnaps a group of young people. What begins as an inhumane interrogation turns into hell. The wrong group has been kidnapped. It is directed by Luciano and Nicholas Onetti. Okay, so after watching the trailer for 1978, this one looks like a pretty brutal torture horror. Now, right out of the gate, you can tell that this movie is going to be dark and gritty, and right from the trailer, you can tell that this movie is going to be packing tons of gore. Now, I really don't think that this is going to be a casual splatter film. I think that this is going to be a very brutal, kind of pain-heavy torture horror, and I just think it's going to be something dark. And if you're not really into suffering or watching people kind of get through it, I'm not 100% sure that this film's going to be for you. And also, I want to give a quick heads up. Even though this one looks like one for the gorehounds, I do think that this film is going to be subtitled, so I just want you guys to know that going in. But again, for my fellow gorehounds, I think that 1978 looks like a brutal, savage offering. It looks like it's just going to be full of blood and pain. And for me, that is something I want to shock myself all the time. So I think this one is going to get a regular to higher spot on my watch list.
El país transita por una de las etapas más difíciles de su historia. Con ese objetivo combatiremos tregua a la delincuencia subversiva.
Patria o con M empezaba.
Hasta su total aniquilamiento.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a straight horror named The Confession. And this movie is available on Apple TV and Prime Video.
This is Arthur Riley, pastor of Mount Calvary.
A musician returns to her childhood home and finds her late father's recorded murder confession, made to ward off an evil force. As her son's behavior grows disturbing, she fights to end the darkness. It is directed by Will Cannon. Okay, so after watching the trailer for The Confession, this one looks like a decent kind of folk horror. Now, the premise for this one immediately grabbed me because it looks like it's really mystery driven and like there's really good kind of reveals baked right in. I also feel like there's going to be some really decent creeps and scares here. And once you throw like a creepy kid into the mix, I find that always cranks it up a notch. And then one of the main hooks that you have is just tons of rats and vermin everywhere. And it's just so gross. And depending on your triggers, I think that this one could get really squeamish really fast. Overall, I think The Confession looks decent. I don't think it's going to be like wildly great, but I think there's enough working parts here to really kind of keep me intrigued and interested. So I think this one's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
This is Arthur Riley, pastor of Mount Calvary Church. If you found this, it means the rats are back. If they are, beware.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is an action horror mystery named Killer Whale. And this movie is available on Prime Video.
Do you really want to make me?
This film follows best friends Maddie and Trish as they find themselves trapped in a remote lagoon with the dangerous killer whale named Ceto. It is directed by Joanne Brescian. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Killer Whale, this one looks like it could be kind of a fun animal horror. Now, when I take a look at this film, I don't think there's anything really groundbreaking here. Like, I don't think the film is reinventing the wheel, but I do think that the production looks solid, and it does look like we're gonna get a lot of kind of tense, close call moments. I also really like the setting for this one because it's just a bright, beautiful beach setting with blue, clear water. Really makes me want to kind of go on a vacation. So that part I did enjoy. Now, my only hesitation for this film is the CGI, because in some shots we get like a nice, majestic kind of killer whale. It looks really natural and good. And then in other shots, when they really ramp up the effects, the CGI gets aggressive, and some of the splashes, it just comes off and looks a little bit hokey. That being said, I do think that the film looks like a fun Friday night watch where you just kind of lean back, kick back with some popcorn, and let kind of some good tension moments roll over you. But again, it just looks a little bit gimmicky, and I can't see it getting anything more than a regular to lower spot on my watch list.
To the perfect escape. This is Josh.
Hey.
We have a surprise for you.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror mystery romance named The Raven, and this movie is available on Prime Video. A grieving man haunted by the death of his beloved Annabelle Lee spirals into madness when a mysterious raven appears, leading him on a nightmarish journey through guilt, supernatural encounters, and the eerie space between life and death. It is directed by Gregory J. Martin. Okay, so after watching the trailer for The Raven, this one looks like a middle-of-the-road grief horror. Now, I do like stories that are inspired by Edgar Allan Poe because I really like his kind of dark, moody storytelling, and it does look like those elements are on full display here. And I know this one from the subgenres obviously leans into the romance, but if we're looking at a romance that's kind of like a really dark, grief-stricken, tragedy kind of romance tale where you're just like, it's the memory of a loved one, I think the film could go to some dark places. Now, that being said, I do wish that the trailer hit a little bit harder. Like, I did think some of the parts kind of came off a little bit cheesy, and that really just dulled the impact for me. Now, there are some solid dark themes at play here, and it is an interesting idea, but it just doesn't have enough bite, so it was nothing that really grabbed me. So I think The Raven is going to get a lower spot on my watch list.
Welcome home, Guided Beer.
She was my good luck charm. Just like that white raven.
You like fruit.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a straight horror named Don't Let the Cat Out, and this movie is available on Prime Video. A feline-obsessed couple find their next human vessel to transfer the soul of their beloved cat into. It is directed by Tim Cruise. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Don't Let the Cat Out, this one looks like an interesting but middle-of-the-road kind of rules-based horror. Now, I do like the premise for this one because, let's face it, we are living in a pet-obsessed world. So who knows, maybe if I could like find a human soul to transfer into my beloved dog to give it more life, maybe I would take it. And I think the idea of just finding a human vessel from the cat is interesting and entertaining. P.S. I would never do that, of course. I also find that this kind of Gremlins rule-based structure, like don't take pictures, don't feed it after night, it really works for me. Like, I'm always wondering exactly how the rules are going to break, what rule they're going to break, what are the consequences going to be, and I always find that that's just a fun, good setup. I also thought the trailer did a really good job of making the film look pretty eventful, and we do get to see a lot of blood. But for some reason, watching it, as much as I like the premise, I just couldn't shake the fact that the movie feels overall like it's got this cheesy veneer, and I couldn't get over it, so nothing really kind of grabbed me. So while I do think that the concept has some pretty good potential, I just didn't really see anything that I loved. So Don't Let the Cat Out is going to get a lower spot on my watch list.
I am so sorry I'm late.
Come on in, Charlie.
Thanks. Hi, Mrs. Davis.
Hi. Everything you need is written on the fridge. And if we don't come back tonight, just make yourself at home. Let's go. We're late.
There he is.
Hey, how's the house sitting going?
Quiet so far.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is an action drama horror named Dust Bunny. And this movie is available on Google Play, Apple TV, and Prime Video.
You got the girl.
I got the girl.
An 8-year-old girl asks her scheming neighbor for help in killing the monster under her bed that she thinks ate her family. It is directed by Brian Fuller. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Dust Bunny, this one looks like a decent to good action horror. Now, the first thing that really stood out to me in this trailer was the action, because it's got this really good kind of kung fu choreography to it. It just looks slick, fast, and like really well done. And I think the great production value of the film really helps it too, because you just have these really high quality visuals. It's fast, it's flashy, and just looks like a lot of fun. And it really gives the movie this polished kind of high energy feel that keeps it exciting. Also, I just want to add that Mads Mikkelsen looks like he is kicking some serious ass in this movie. And when you add Sigourney Weaver to the mix, who's right at home in an action horror, I'm really interested to see exactly what she brings. Now, I'm not really expecting heavy scares from this one, but there are a couple of parts that look like they'll deliver some pretty good light creeps to go along with this chaos. Now, overall, Dust Bunny, because it is an action horror and just heavy on the action, it does feel like a movie that I might have to be in the mood to watch, like in the mood or the headspace for an action film. But it does look good, so I think this one's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
What did you see?
A monster. Under my bed.
What do your parents think about monsters? Do they believe in them?
Did you know? Is that enough to kill a monster?
What makes you think I kill monsters?
You seem like you killed all it thinks.
All right, last movie we're going to take a look at is a straight horror named Elevate. And this movie is available on Found TV. A father's love of film turns disturbing when a cursed camera shows images from a reality unseen to the human eye. A disturbing look into a cursed technology driven by vanity. It is directed by Jack Hunter II. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Elevate, this looks like it could be a decent found footage horror. Now, right out of the gate, I have to admit that this movie does have a pretty kind of low budget look, and some of the acting is pretty shaky. But what the film did do a good job of like pulling off is just this overall sense of dread that just hangs over the whole film. And that grim, uneasy feeling that I just got from the entire production, it did work for me. Honestly, right out of the gate, I don't know if the movie is going to be this disturbing, but it did give me vibes of the movie I've brought up a few times before, that 2011 film Found, because while the acting is shaky and the performances weren't great, it did do a good job of just delivering this overall, like, really disturbing narrative. And so when I see that parallel of like what could be a disturbing movie with shaky performances, I wonder if this is going to be like a film that turns into nightmare fuel or just kind of collapses into something cheesy. And that's really the gamble here. Like, just from what I saw, this movie could really turn out to be something raw and unsettling, or it could be kind of a waste of time and just cheesy. And I think that this movie could really turn into something that's like pretty much nightmare fuel, or it could fall into the usual pitfalls of like a found footage movie. Now, either way, you know that I'm a found footage head, so I am willing to give it a shot, but I think it's still going to get a regular to lower spot on my watch list.
I just bought a camera for me to document my family.
This is stupid.
What's stupid?
That dang camera. And you.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did find a couple of gems for your watch list, please leave me a like and subscribe. Now, if I had to make a couple of picks this week, the first pick for me personally is going to be 1978. Not only do I think it's a great year, but also it just looks completely like a brutal torture horror. It looks like something that I have to challenge myself to sit through, which is awesome, man. I love to be shocked or disturbed. Like, that's what I love to watch horror movies for: shocked, scared, or disturbed. So this movie definitely looks like it's going to fill that kind of disturbed, disgusting element, and it just looks gritty and raw, and I'm kind of interested to see exactly what these people endure. So that's going to be my first pick of the week. And for my second pick of the week, I think I'm going to go with The Confession. I just think that it looks like a pretty good film. I'm not going to gamble on like a weird found footage this week. I'm going to go with The Confession because I think it just looks dark. The creepy kid elements really hit. It's got a decent production, and some of the rat stuff, again, it just looks completely squeamish. It just looks like I'm wondering it builds a little bit of mystery exactly what's going on. Like, is this going to be a bit of a possession horror? And it does look like it has some pretty good creeps and scares, even though one of them was the very tropey kind of like there was a figure under the sheet and then she turns around and the sheet falls. But either way, some of those creeps and scares could be effective, right? Like, if they're done properly in the right way, they could be effective. And again, with the rats and the squeamish and all of that stuff kind of lumped in together, I think that's going to be my second pick of the week. Well, guys, that's it for me for real this time, as I've got a ton of movies to watch. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have been taking care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.